of Osoyoos Town Council, January the 21st, 2019, in Council Chambers. We're a couple minutes late starting this because we just finished another meeting a few minutes ago. So first up is the adoption of some minutes, the Committee of the Whole minutes of December the 17th, the regular open minutes of December the 17th, the public hearing minutes of December the 17th, the special open minutes of December the 17th, special open minutes of December the 18th, and the special open minutes of December the 20th. We were busy right before Christmas, weren't we? So I need a motion, please, to accept all of those. Thank you. Councillor King, Councillor Harvey. All in favor? CJ, you're okay with that?
I'm in favor.
Thank you very much. Business arising from prior minutes? Nothing there. Introduction of late items? We don't have anything more. So could we please have a motion to accept the agenda as printed? Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Harvey. All in favor. Thank you. And so the first is the Water District and financial accounts. And this would be to report on expenditures from accounts payable for water councillors and council approval. The Water District requirements as of today are in the amount of $20,941.47. Thank you. Councillor Morera is moving. Councillor King seconding that. All in favor? Thank you.
I'm in favor.
Thank you. Next is the, I've got to find this now, the Okanagan Water Basin minutes. And so I will certainly speak to this, seeing as I've now been elected the chair. The Water Grant Program is accepting applications, and this is for water conservation and quality improvement. The difference this year is that the funding is going to be awarded on a valley-wide basis, not necessarily each regional district or each community having it. So the thought is one valley, one water. So it will, please apply for it, but just know that it's going to be judged slightly differently on this one, okay? The OBWB has been writing several letters recently, so they're asking for an extension to the groundwater licensing deadline, and there's only a few of groundwater users that have applied for to the Ministry of Flinroe, and so it's taking a lot more time than they thought, so they've tried to get it extended for a while, to get people more involved, and it takes education and it takes time. There's also been a letter written to anybody who we can find a person to write to, which would asking for all watercraft entering BC to report to an inspection station before they're allowed to go in a lake. And that's a big ask, but right now we only have one inspection station and that's open 24 hours, and that's in Golden. And so sometimes people come through with their boats at times when the inspection station or the inspectors are not available. Fortunately, we have some trained people at the border crossings who have recognized concerns and have responded to them right away. So we're hoping to do that. And the other thing is flood mapping, which is a really important thing to be done. And they're approving a contract to look at the depth and the shape of the Okanagan River Channel between Penticton and Osoyoos. And that's important because of all of the flooding from the last year, and the silt that's come down from a lot of the streams has built up some of the areas in the river channel. And so it's causing problems. So they're really going to have a look at that, and LiDAR, which is a light detection and ranging, they're going to be having laser, and they're going to be looking at what it looks like from the air and looking to see how much silt and so on is that there is in the river channel. So also protecting the spawning grounds for fish. So those are all things that are important to OBWB. Okay, so we need to have the this accepted, that the correspondence be received and filed. Councillor King, Councillor Rhodes, thank you. All in favor? Okay.
I'm in favor.
And next is the email from the Osoyoos Lake Water Quality Society. Can you speak to this, Mr. Mankuts?
I will. Actually, just in the council package was just a sample letter of support that the Osoyoos Lake Water Quality Society is looking. It's a sample letter that they suggested, but what the society is looking for a letter of support from council. They want to make an application to the OBWB, their grant program, so that they can replace their aging, leaking pontoon boat and their motor and trailer. So they say they've been testing the Osoyoos Lake for 25 years, and having a safe and reliable boat and motor are essential to have them continue in this important work. So we're looking for a resolution providing a letter of support to the Osoyoos Lake Water Quality Society.
And we did do a letter quite recently for them to sit it, and so I'm wondering if we could perhaps look at that letter and maybe adjust it a little bit, and certainly. And are you sending it to OBWB, or are you sending it to
I'm
the
going to
Lake
send
Water
it
Quality?
to the society so that they would attach it as part of their grant application.
Okay.
But a resolution at this time would provide for that direction.
Thank you. Would someone like to make that resolution? Thank you. Councillor Harvey, seconded.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, all in favor? Thank you very
I'm in
much.
favor.
Okay. Next is the bylaws. The Ms. McKay. This would be a zoning amendment bylaw 1065-111. Go ahead, please. This is the Spartan Drive one.
1085.
1085-115.
Yep.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Let me just get myself fired up here. Push that up, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Thank you. So this report is respect of zoning amendment bylaw number 1085.115, and it is for Riki Enterprises, and it is the applicant is William Irvine, and the civic address is 7603 Spartan Drive. It is commonly known as the Owl Pub. So the existing zoning on the subject property is downtown commercial. The applicant is proposing to rezone the property to C1S, which is downtown commercial site specific, in order to allow for cannabis retail sales. So the purpose of this report is to request that council consider this zoning bylaw amendment. The amending bylaw, if adopted, will allow for a site-specific retail cannabis store to be located at 7603 Spartan Drive. Provincial licensing. The Liquor and Cannabis Retail Branch of the Province of British Columbia will not issue a private retail license without local government approval. The provincial licensing process, coupled with the site-specific zoning provision, will allow for a one-step process for consideration of cannabis sales in the town. Specifically, comments received through the rezoning process will be provided to the province for consideration during the provincial licensing program. The LCRB has produced the Cannabis Retail Store License Terms and Conditions, a handbook for the sale of non-medical cannabis in British Columbia, as a guide for retail store license holders. The handbook sets out the conditions of a retail license, and it's been attached to this report for information. The handbook addresses a number of specific issues which may be of concern to our community, including service training, store layout, security, and display of goods. These items are not, therefore, discussed in this report. Council, you'll note that my reports all sound a lot the same.
Yes.
So that I'll look at them all through the same lens.
Good.
And also, I keep attaching this book because it keeps changing. You'll note that the date on this one is January 2019. As the provincial government progresses in this program, they're updating the book. So, overview. The applicant is proposing to open a retail cannabis store in a portion of the building located at 7603 Spartan Drive. The property is currently home to the Owl Pub and Liquor Store. The portion of the building proposed for a retail cannabis store, which is indicated on red on the map, is currently being used as a variety of storage purposes related to the adjacent pub. Pedestrian access to the retail store would be via the parking lot located on the north side of the property. This parking lot provides for delivery area for the pub and liquor store. A recent visit to the site shows signs that this area is also utilized as an area for staff work breaks. And then the photo indicates the area of the building proposed for use as a recreational cannabis retail store. So that's the next page, Brian. Thank you. Zoning bylaw amendment. The text amendment is required as retail cannabis sales is not permitted use within the town of Osoyoos. At their October 15, 2018 meeting, Council adopted zoning amendment bylaw number 1085.109, which added the following section to the zoning bylaw. Section 4.22, Council may approve a rezoning application for cannabis sales as a site-specific permitted use in the C1 downtown commercial zone, the C2 shopping center commercial zone, and the C3 highway commercial zone with consideration of policy PLA-019 and any additional information council deems appropriate, including all or some of the information required through the provincial licensing process. Accordingly, the applicant has submitted an application to rezone the property located at 7603 Spartan Drive, which is within the C1 downtown commercial zone. Official Community Plan Bylaw number 1230. As per Section 10.4 of the OCP, Osoyoos has been fortunate to maintain its traditional downtown Main Street, which is a major attraction for residents and tourists alike. Accordingly, the downtown has its own unique OCP land use designation and zone. The OCP policies promote an attractive and dynamic mix of complementary downtown uses and encourage a variety of businesses to locate in the downtown, including retail and service businesses, financial institutions, government and professional offices, housing above commercial floor space, arts and cultural activities, and inviting public spaces. Additional policies seek to retain and promote businesses to locate in the downtown area and discourage outward migration of businesses to other areas. Analysis, Policy PLA-019. At their September 4th, 2018 meeting, Council adopted the cannabis retail sales site-specific rezoning conditions. Again, it's also attached to your report. The intent of the policy is to ensure that all rezoning proposals were reviewed based on the same criteria. The subject property provides for limited on-site parking, as indicated in the photo, adjacent to the proposed retail store. However, the primary function of this area is for use as a loading dock, both for the pub and the liquor store. This space also serves as the garbage and recycling area. This area is not therefore suitable for customer parking for the cannabis store. There are a few spaces on the subject property which are adjacent to Spartan Drive, which provide temporary parking for the customers of the liquor store. Under building parking via Park Place, a form and character development permit was issued for the existing pub and liquor store in 1995. Approval of this development was subject to the provision of adequate parking for the use. Parking was provided under the pub with access from Park Place. Over the years, there was repeated problems with vagrants loitering in the parking area. In response to those concerns that were raised at the time, the parking area was closed. Planning staff have advised the property owners that, regardless of the outcome of the current rezoning proposal, the parking area must be reopened in order to comply with the previously issued permits. The property owners have indicated that they will explore solutions to the previous concerns, which may include installation of cameras and/or parking lot attendees. Once the under-building parking area is reopened, it is likely that street parking on Spartan Drive will decrease. Rationale for recommendation. Staff have some concerns about the use of the portion of this existing building being used for a retail cannabis store. Concerns are primarily related to the access to the retail store being sought through an active loading area. Community implications to the community. To provide an attractive mix of complementary commercial uses to benefit the community and provide services year-round and support continued commercial growth within a limited land base. Organizationally, the rezoning process requires a public hearing. Should the amending bylaw receive third reading, it would then be placed on hold until such time as the town is notified by the province that the applicant has been successful in obtaining the necessary approvals through the provincial process. The applicant will also need to comply with any additional requirements as may be required through the business license program. A development permit for form and character will be required if changes are to be made to the exterior of the building. Staff will bring forward the details of this permit for council's consideration at the time of final adoption of the amending bylaw. Budget. There are no impacts to the budget associated with this report. Significant dates. Staff are proposing a public hearing date of February 19th, 2019 at 4 p.m. Sustainability town policy for commercial growth includes avoiding sprawling development. Now the options before council today are number one, in two parts. A, council grants first and second reading to zoning amendment bylaw number 1085.115. And B, council sets a public hearing date of February 19, 2019 at 4 p.m. Option 2, council rejects the zoning bylaw amendment. Option 3, council requests additional information before proceeding further. And option 4, council recommends any other action deemed appropriate. And staff are recommending option number 1, which is the two-part granting first and second and setting the public hearing. Thank you, Mayor McCordoff.
Thank you very much. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess the first and second reading could happen, and I could support that. But I guess because it's in the same building, isn't that kind of identified and kind of conflict of the law to start with?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff, and through the chair. Thank you, Councillor. I did contact the provincial government, and they indicated that this still conforms with their policies in the direction they're going for. In fact, if someone were to request a rezoning for a portion of a liquor store, for example, as long as it met the requirements of complete spatial separation, they would consider the license.
Okay, then, but again, this building, the license is for this address, which includes the liquor store?
That's correct.
So does that make it in conflict?
It does not.
Okay. And then the other thing, I guess he would obviously wall it off, because right now you can walk between the two.
That's correct. That would have to be, that separation would have to be.
And then my last
well,
comment would be the safety of the customers. If this was to go forward with deliveries there pretty well every day or every second day, a big 40-foot or 30-foot semi backing in there. And I guess that's not really the issue we're worried about this time.
I did express some concern in the report. It did identify that.
Yeah, so.
I think we're just looking at
Yeah,
the zoning
second.
amendment right now,
Yeah.
and then some of those other issues would be brought up later, is my guess. Okay, would somebody like to...
Madam McCordoff, I have a couple of questions when it's appropriate.
Please go ahead, Councillor Rhodes.
I hope I'm not re-asking a question again, but I have three questions, and I'm wondering about the proposed area that will turn into the retail outlet. Is it going to be isolated from the rest of the building? I have a memory of it being quite like a hallway and a couple of doors that would take it right into the pub area, and I have some concerns if it's not going to be closed off. Second question is about signage and where that would be located. It's not really visible from Spartan Drive at all, and I'm wondering if there's a plan to put signs on Spartan Drive. And I had some concerns about the garbage containers, and I'm wondering if there was any discussions about them being relocated to another location.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Councillor Rhodes, and through the chair again. Yes, as previously noted, any access between the different uses would have to be completely sealed off. You can't enter, you could not be able to enter from the retail cannabis store through and into the pub, so that would have to be completely sealed off. Signage would have to comply with our signage bylaw. There would be an opportunity for them to place signage on the building facing Spartan Drive. That would be permitted. There is a maximum number of signs permitted, a maximum size permitted for each face of a building. I suspect that they'll probably want to also have a signage on the portion of the building that would face the parking lot. There is no other option to relocate the garbage receptacles anywhere on the building. That's the only area that they would be able to be located.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Rhodes, that answer your question?
Thank you very much. Yes, it does.
Okay.
If it's a good time, I'd like to make a motion based on the staff recommendation and option 1.
That would be section A. You're making that recommendation? The first?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there someone who'd like to second that? Thank you. Councillor Harvey. And did you want to speak to this?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the proposal gives me pause for client safety and the use of that parking lot. I think that'll come out in public meetings, and I think it's worth going to first and second and having the public meetings and then make a considered decision at that time.
Right. Okay, yeah, Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Has there ever been any discussion, I don't know if it fit, if there's actually putting a door out to the parking lot behind, if there's enough room?
I'm sorry, could you
To
explain?
put stairs out the back side to the parking lot, then there's lots of parking. I don't know if it'd be feasible to do it or not, but has that been discussed?
Are you referring to the parking for our park?
No, for this building.
No, but down to our
Underneath?
parking
Yeah,
lot?
isn't there part of his building there, or does he
Oh,
butt right up?
inside?
Does he butt right up to, yeah, he could go downstairs.
The only way to get into that parking lot is down the street.
That's
and in.
correct.
Yeah. So,
There's really been no discussion of trying to maybe go in from the backside.
This portion of the building is not large enough to accommodate stairs.
Okay.
okay. All right, so we've had, it's been moved and seconded that we go with option 1A, which is granting first and second readings to the zoning amendment bylaw. All in favor? Thank
I'm
you.
in favor.
Thank you very much. And that's carried. Is there somebody who would like to deal with 1B?
Yeah, I'll move that we set a public hearing date for the 19th.
Thank you. And Councillor
second.
King is seconding that. The public hearing date, Councillor Rhodes, I don't know whether you heard that, would be February the 19th at 4 p.m. All in favor of that motion?
I'm in favor of that.
Thank you very much. So, that's, thank you, Ms. McKay. Next is the business license amendment bylaw. Ms. McKay, that's you, I think, again.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. This report is business license amendment bylaw number 1045.34 and regarding retail cannabis sales. Purpose of this report is to request that council give first, second, and third readings to the attached business license amendment bylaw number 1045.34. The bylaw proposes to add cannabis sales and applicable fees to Schedule A of the Town of Osoyoos business license bylaw. While Planning and Development Services staff will be preparing a new and updated business license bylaw later this year, staff recommends an amendment be made to Schedule A of the licensing and fees of the business license bylaw for the interim. This amendment will facilitate the issuance of business licenses to retail cannabis stores that receive a license from the province and also comply with zoning requirements. Implications for the community. Community input on the location of retail cannabis stores is being sought through the rezoning process. Organizationally, this amendment will be consolidated into a new, updated version of the business license bylaw to be prepared by the bylaw or the Planning and Development Services staff later this year. No implications to the budget are associated with this report. Significant dates. If council gives amendment bylaw first 3 readings today, the amending bylaw could be considered for adoption on February 19th. Sustainability, the proposed use will contribute to economic sustainability by diversifying the range of businesses and new opportunities. Options before council today. Council give first, second, and third readings to Business License Amendment Bylaw number 1085.34. Option 2, council requests additional information or further revisions to the bylaw before proceeding. On option 3, council does not take any further action and the bylaw will be abandoned. Pardon me. Sorry.
Thank you very much. We have had quite a lot of discussion about this particular bylaw in the past, so this is just coming forward for the proper amendment bylaw now. Council, anybody like to make a motion on this? Councillor King? What are you doing?
Number 1, sorry.
Okay, you're
I was thinking
moving option number 1.
Then I had a question.
Yeah,
I'll second that.
thank you very much, Councillor Rhodes, and Councillor King, you had a question.
Yeah, I guess I was just relating to the, sorry, Madam Mayor, relating to the license fee of $500. I know we had major discussions around that, but I didn't really think we finalized that. We suggested it goes in with the liquor license, but I didn't think we finalized it.
That's why we've got it coming today.
Okay,
Yeah, right?
to finalize.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Actually, we did settle on the $500 fee that day at that discussion. However, the licensing fees for liquor licensing fees for stores, et cetera, would not be updated to meet this level until the new bylaws comes in to play.
I understand
Okay.
that, but I didn't.
So this is just to add the retail cannabis
Correct.
sales on this one.
But on it, it says a price of $500.
Correct.
Yep,
So that
That's
would
what we
be
agreed.
that would be the price then.
yep. Okay, so it's been,
Can I-
The
yes,
COs.
go ahead.
I'm just relating, from the committee of the whole meeting, council had made a recommendation that the administration bring forth a bylaw with this particular amount of $500. At this particular point in time, it goes for formal debate.
Yes.
If council wishes to change that number, this is when the number would be changed. So this number is
Yeah.
not written in stone.
Okay.
But it was the amount that was brought forward from the committee of the whole meeting. That's
Thank
what
you
we
for
brought up
clarifying that.
the amendment in that, with that amount.
So did you want to speak to this, Councillor Harvey?
Yeah, I would like to speak to the amount. Repeating myself from the committee of the whole in some degree, but reflecting a little bit more in the schedule, and I would suggest that drugstores which sell controlled substances are in at $300, and that we should perhaps go with a number of $300 as a one-to-one comparable. I was pushing 100 last time, but I think, when I look at the schedule in more detail, I would suggest that at least then there's some consistency with the current table, in my view.
Okay. Is there anyone who would like to second that? No, we're not. We're just discussing this. Okay, we haven't got to that stage yet. So anybody else like to speak to this then? Okay, Councillor King.
I'd speak to that. I mean, there's rumor that they're going to be selling cannabis in drugstores, but we haven't seen anybody come forward with that ask yet. So I think that's just kind of a hypothetical, going back to $300.
So you're in favor of that or leaving it
No,
at
I'd be
5?
against that.
Yeah. Councillor Rhodes, did you have anything to add to this?
Madam McCordoff, I apologize. I'm having some issues hearing Councillor Harvey, and
Okay, so the recommendation by Councillor Harvey is that we change this to not a $500 fee, but to a $300 fee to fit in with the other parts. I think it was other retail stores that had. I remember that on the list.
Other retail stores that sell controlled
substances.
Yeah.
Okay. So
would we change this resolution that we're dealing with now? Or
we're just debating this, the amount. And so Councillor Harvey has suggested $300. Councillor King is comfortable with $500. And I just wondered if you had anything to add to this.
Yeah, I'm very supportive of the $300 level.
you're comfortable with the 300? Is that what I heard you say? Is that what I
Yes,
said?
that's correct. I know we kind of put the $500 in. I wasn't sure whether we were going to debate it within this report.
Yes.
But if we are going to do that, yes, I'm very supportive of that $250 to $300 level.
Okay, and I am quite supportive of the $500, so.
Should call for the vote.
So, and we don't have our.
That's kind of where we were at during the last debate.
And, yeah, I know, and we do not have our fifth member of council here because he happens to be on holiday in Mexico and was not able to call in. So then we have, the recommendation is that we approve the first, second, third to the business license in the amount of, is that correct? I should add that. That's not added in here. So the option is
Not even on the
option.
table. It's not a motion.
No.
You have a motion on the table for 500. It's
No, the new motion on the table is for 300.
you haven't voted down the old motion yet.
Oh, pardon me.
You have to
All right.
vote?
My motion is on the table at 500.
Your motion is on the table at 500, and I will second that.
No, Councillor Rhodes have
Yeah,
already
you
seconded
second
that.
that, yes, you second that.
He seconded the motion the last time?
Correct.
Oh, did you know that, Councillor Rhodes? That he seconded it
Just for
500?
clarity, I'm a little confused. Are we dealing with option 1 on this report, and have we expanded that wording?
And that was my question as well. So first of all, we're just dealing with the amount that goes in here. Am I correct?
No.
The amount, no? Sorry, Mrs. Hilson, could you explain then? what
I
was-
can.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordov. So what you've done is you've given first and second, or the motion on the table is for option number 1, which is for first, second, and third reading to the amending bylaw with the fee of $500.
Okay,
So
got ya.
as I see it, you'd have to vote on that motion.
All right, so we're going to vote on, sorry about this, it is confusing. So we are going to vote on this motion now, which gives first, second, and third readings to the business license bylaw, and that included $500 for the cannabis sales. All right,
So that, if I could just ask, that $500 license fee is within this bylaw, is that what we're
That's
talking about?
Yes.
so that's what we're voting on right now.
Yes.
Okay, so all in favor of that?
I'm opposed.
And, okay, and opposed? So we have 2 people opposed. That means it's
Motion's
dead.
lost.
It's, okay. So is there somebody who would like to make another motion, please? That one was defeated.
I would move that we,
I would make a motion based on the exact wording with a $300 fee.
And you're seconding that? Anybody want to talk to this one? All right, all in favor of the same motion with a $300 fee?
I'm in favor.
Councillor Rhodes and Councillor Harvey, all against. So that was a tie as well. That means that was defeated. So now what do we do?
split the difference.
No, not down,
I'll
up.
make another motion.
Yeah.
We had a major discussion around this, and I thought we kind of mutually agreed that we'd put it in with the liquor license, which my understanding is $500. Am I right in that?
Yeah, sorry, we don't have that. What does it say there? Go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify that liquor licensing fees are not that price right now, but that was what I was proposing in the updated bylaw. And the rationale for that was that the most call-outs and challenges, I guess we should say, in bylaw enforcement, RCMP call-outs, et cetera, are around establishments that either sell liquors, off sales, or liquor stores, or pubs, et cetera. So we're going to put them in the same, all those in the same category with the fee of $500 in the updated business license bylaw. And because it's all under the same branch, the liquor control and retail cannabis licensing branch, we are putting retail cannabis sales in the same pool. That was the rationale at committee
In
of the whole.
other words, if this does not pass at 500, then we would be having to go back and look at the liquor license, the liquor licensing as well.
We'll be reviewing that when the
I know.
business license bylaw amendment comes forward for your consideration. You can have that debate at that time.
Okay, so,
Can we just sort of table, we won't make any motions and table this to the next meeting?
You could,
whatever the
but
word.
you do run the risk of having a license granted from the provincial government and me coming forward with looking for fourth reading on a site-specific rezoning proposal prior to addressing the business license bylaw.
They could
So we
come-
couldn't issue a business license, they couldn't open a store.
they could-
so that's the problem,
they
isn't
could
it,
still
if we
come up
put
that
this
same
on?
day, though, one before the other, if we chose.
But this is a month-long process to adopt this bylaw. You need four weeks in between first and second and third. Well, you don't,
One
but,
day,
One day.
Oh, is it-
yeah.
oh, is it only one day?
Yeah.
There you go.
One day.
You could do that.
Yeah.
Assuming that you've resolved this.
Well, I was just thinking, by next time, though,
We
Councillor
could,
Bennett would be
we
back.
could have 5 people here, which would
Well, that's-
presumably break the deadlock, I would guess. Is that a good enough reason to postpone it till the next meeting?
Well, if you can't find,
CAO.
if you can't make it a decision by resolution by your numbers, you'd have to wait for the deciding vote to return. And in the meantime, there may be different thoughts people have on the matter, and they may change their minds. But
Yep.
at this point in time, there's nothing that stops council from not establishing the first 3 readings.
So do we need to have a motion to do that? A motion to postpone this until the next meeting? Is that how this works?
Yeah, I just seek a resolution to bring this back to the February 4th meeting for first 3 readings.
Councillor King, are you making that
Yeah, I will. I'll
resolution?
make that motion, but I had a question, too.
Okay, and I will second that resolution, or do you need a seconder on that? You do. All right. Go ahead, Councillor King.
No, I'm fine.
Oh, you're all right with that? Councillor Rose, did you catch all of that?
I sure did, and I'm in favor of that, but
Okay.
I'm going to
So,
vote on it.
do we need to vote on this resolution? Okay, all in favor of the resolution to hold this off until the next February the 4th meeting? All in favor?
I'm in favor.
Thank you. That's carried, finally. Okay, thank you, Ms. McKay. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
It does get a little tricky, doesn't it? So the next item that we have on the agenda is Miss Van Vienen, the Osoyoos Curling Club lease, and I see some of the members of the curling club are here waiting for us to deal with this. So.
Thank you. The Curling Club built a curling arena on town land shared with the Sun Bowl Arena and have had a lease with the town for the land it is sitting on since 1975. A review of the files with the Curling Club Society revealed that there apparently has not been a new lease between the parties for several years and that the terms have been based on a year-to-year clause in the latest agreement. The Curling Club Society is wishing to apply for a grant and must show proof of a long-term lease agreement that is for at least 10 years or more. The attached lease is a completely rewritten lease from the previous leases held with the Curling Club. The reasons are that the liability and contamination have become more important to address in leases over the past few years, and better wording has been drafted over the years for several clauses in the agreement. The lease being brought before council is a 10-year lease which covers the need for $5 million liability insurance, naming the town as additional insured, requirement for the curling club to insure their contents, clean up the lands if contamination arises, disposition of the building should the lease not be renewed by the curling club in the future, maintenance fees that are required to be paid under the recreation fees and charges bylaw, that is not a new fee but rather new to include in the lease, and the rental amount. Options: 1, that the lease with the Curling Club Society for a 10-year period be approved and that the signatories for the town be authorized to sign, or 2, that staff be directed to make further changes to the lease agreement with the Curling Club Society. Staff recommend option 1. There has not been a new lease agreement with the Curling Club Society for several years. This lease agreement will address several issues and will update some of the more antiquated terms from the previous lease agreement. The lease provides for a rental fee of $1 per year. The Curling Club Society is also leasing the lands and is only leasing the lands and will be paying up to approximately $8,000 to the town for maintenance fees under the town's recreation fees and charges bylaw. The required advertising under the community charter was completed on January 10th and 17th.
Thank you. And you have obviously run this by the curling club too, and they're
Yes.
agreeable to this?
Yes.
Okay. We don't want them standing up and saying anything nasty. Okay, Councillor King.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, option 1, that the lease with the Curling Club Society for a 10-year period be approved and that the seniorities for the town be authorized to sign.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, you can take your pick, Mrs. Hilson. All in favor? Thank you. Thank you very much. That's done. Okay. Director Dinwiddie, you're up.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
West Bench Washroom.
Something like that. So over the past several years, the town of Osoyoos has made several improvements to the West Bench area near the Osoyoos Secondary School. 4 outdoor pickleball courts have been added to the existing 3 tennis courts. A new dog park has been created and a baseball diamond has been reestablished to supplement the existing facility. As well, the canal and Dividend Ridge trails have developed, complete with paved surfaces and lighting. In the future, with the completion of the dog park and temporary dog park area, has potential to be repurposed into a picnic area to support the surrounding activities. The last missing component in a is a quality contemporary washroom that can support the many activities in the area. At the December 18th, 2018 Capital Budget Council meeting, Town Council reaffirmed support for $115,000 expenditure for the development of the washroom facility, which included installing a potable water to the site and landscaping for the West Bench Park area. So the proposed budget for this project is listed below. So we have a quote from a company called Green Flush Technologies for a single-stall Aspen model at $100,949. Cost to run water to the site, $5,000. Contingency sum, which would include landscaping and the rental of the crane to lift the structure onto the pad, $9,051 for a total anticipated project budget of $115,000. Administration is now seeking pre-budget approval to facilitate ordering this unit so that it can be installed prior to the busy summer season. The implications for the community are improved service for the users of the numerous recreational facilities available to the West Bench area, including the Canal Trail Pathway. Organizationally, increased demand on the Operational Services Department to clean and maintain yet another parks washroom facility. Budget-wise, the Town Council gave initial approval to this project in December, at the December 18th, 2018 Capital Budget Planning meeting. The source of funding for this project will be from reserves and RMI funding. Significant dates. In order to establish a designated place in the production queue for this prefabricated washroom, the Town Council would have to approve the allocation of 2019 budget funds as soon as possible. And sustainability, there are no real implications. So the option before Town Council is the Town Council gives pre-budget approval for funding the construction of the West Bench Washroom project. Option number 2 is that Town Council does not give pre-budget approval for the construction of the West Bench Washroom project, and this project becomes part of the 2019 capital budget approval process. It should be noted, though, that this option will delay the installation of the washroom facility until late in 2019. It will not be ready for this summer if you do this. Option number 3 is that Town Council requests additional information prior to making a decision. The recommendation from administration is that Town Council adopt option number 1.
Thank you very much. Council, what do you think? Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll, option 1, make a motion Town Council gets pre-budget approval for funding and construction of the West Bench Washroom project. We did have some major discussion around it. That area is getting well used more and more as we move forward.
Good, thank you. Is there a seconder for that?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Rhodes. Any discussion on this? I think it's certainly appropriate to get this built as soon as possible so that it can be used during the busier season. So, thank you.
Great.
All in favor of the motion? Thank
I'm
you.
in favor.
Thank you very much. That's carried. Okay. Ms. McKay, you're back on official community plan review, renew.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. This report is prepared in regarding official community plan review and a request for pre-budget approval. Background, Local Government Act authorizes the development of official community plans in BC. An OCP is a local government bylaw that provides objectives and policies to guide decisions on planning and land use management within the area covered by the plan. OCPs are significant because after their adoption, all bylaws and works undertaken by a council must be consistent with the plan. The local government recommends updating the OCP every 5 years. Town of Osoyoos official community plan was last updated in 2008. The community will benefit from an updated vision and clearly defined development intentions. A new OCP will help support our economic strategies and help us achieve our environmental management objectives. Pre-budget approval will allow staff to move forward with the consultant selection process and prepare for community consultation this spring and summer. Implications for the community. Public consultation is an integral part of the OCP process. A number of our residents spend their summers away from our community. As such, we need to hold our first public sessions late spring or early summer of 2019. Organizationally, this project will require consulting services. Planning staff will be providing support to the consultant whenever possible. Staff are requesting pre-budget approval so that this project will allow us to proceed with the consultation selection process. Budget. The proposed budget for this project is $150,000. $100,000 from the 2019 budget and $50,000 from the 2020 budget. Significant dates. Preparation of full OCP is a large project that requires the assembly of background information, public consultation, and map preparation. Ideally, the project can be completed within the new OCP bylaw adopted by the spring of 2020. Sustainability of the OCP will align with the Town of Osoyoos' integrated sustainability plan. The options before Council are Option 1, approve the staff request for pre-budget approval for the OCP renew, or Option 2, Council deny pre-budget approval request for the OCP review, and staff are recommending option number 1.
Thank you. And at the latest regional district meeting, Area A, which surrounds Osoyoos, is going through an OCP review as well, pretty well at the same time, or they may start a little later. So that's a good thing, because the last time it was done, 10 years ago, the rural area and the town did it at the same time and had a couple of meetings together. So that's a good thing. Councillor King, what do you think?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess I just have a question with this motion. It's just the pre-budget approval. I understand that 100,000 has basically been passed in the 2018. So are you
2019, sorry, that was my mistake. It's the 2019 budget.
Okay, and then the 50 is for the
2020
budget?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm just curious, Mr. Remenko, should this request have a specific number or leave it open-ended?
I thought the request was for 100,000. That's what it is in this year's budget.
That's correct.
There's 100,000 this year and 50,000 for 2020.
Well, that says it up in the budget, but it's not really in the motion.
Yes, it should be in the motion.
That's what I was. That's what I was relating to.
Okay.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see, okay.
Could we add that to the motion then?
I'll make a motion. Council approves staff request for pre-budget approval for the OCP renewable budget 150,000 in the 219 budget and 50,000 in the I can't pass that.
No, it's 100,000.
100,000.
120.
Although I like the way you were doing it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I saw her smile. And
I did.
No, you're not.
I thought, don't look up.
No, it's 100,000 in
Yeah.
2019 and 50,000. Well, you don't need to worry.
Can we leave the 50,000 off,
No.
just the 100,000?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
We can't do the
Did you get
220.
that, Mrs. Hilson? Okay, so that has been changed a little bit. So did we have it seconded?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Councillor Harvey seconded. All in favor of that motion? Councillor Rhodes, you in favor of that?
I have no questions, and I'm in favor of it.
Thank you. Okay, that's carried. Next is the golf course lease. Mr. Remenko?
Okay, the town has leased Crown lands to the Osoyoos Golf Course since 1971. The lease rate has been $1 per year, and the golf course is exempted from taxation. The lease was redrafted and agreed to by both parties for 5 years with 5 options of renewal for 5 years each beginning September 2008, with the first term ending August 31st, 2013. The second 5-year term of the lease has expired on August 31st, 2018. 3 5-year option terms or 15 years in total are remaining on the existing lease. The attached letter requests that the town enter into a 10-year lease renewal with the Osoyoos Golf Club. The request for the 10-year term relates to the need for land security, enabling the organization to pursue grant funding. There are no other requested changes to the lease other than a 10-year term instead of the 5-year term. At the December 17th council meeting, administration was directed to bring back a 10-year lease renewal with no changes in conditions for council's consideration. Implementation of a 10-year lease will result in 5 years remaining in the existing lease. Attached is a new lease renewal for the 10-year period. In terms of implications, community, the golf course provides the community with health and wellness, social, economic, and environmental benefits. No organizational impacts, no budget impacts. Significant dates, the grant application must be submitted prior to January 23rd. Sustainability, the golf course provides recycling of town-treated effluent, thereby eliminating the need to use the Osoyoos Lake for effluent disposal. In terms of options, 3 options are presented to council. 1, council approves the attached 10-year lease renewal and directs the town signatories to sign the attached lease renewal. 2, council denies the request for a 10-year renewal and provides a 5-year renewal. 3, council requires additional identified information to be brought back at the next meeting. In terms of recommendation, the administration is recommending option 1, approving a 10-year renewal enables the golf club to secure the needed land tenure that enables a grant application.
Thank you. Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. If this got passed, and I support a 10-year lease, would there be added sort of an option for another 5 or 10? Because the old lease has had 15 years left.
Well, we're working within the existing lease, and so the existing lease would have 5 years after this 10 years.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
So in fact, it's going to be 15 then, 5 but
10
now
and then
plus
5.
10.
that's right. Yeah, the existing lease has 15 years left in it.
5.
No,
No,
5.
right now.
Okay.
The existing lease has 15 years left in it, and this is for 10 of those 15.
Instead of 5,
Yeah.
5.
Fair enough. So are you making that recommendation?
Yeah, I'll make the recommendation. Option 1, council approves the attached 10-year lease renewal and directs the town to sign the attached lease renewal.
Are you, and seconded that? Any other further questions? Okay, all in favor of renewing that lease?
I'm in favor.
Thank you very much. And no notice of motion. So the next is the general net payroll and Sun Bowl Arena financial accounts. So to report on expenditures from accounts payable to January the 21st. General cash requirements of $1,635,457.27, and Sun Bowl cash requirements of $20,791.24, and both of those will be accepted by consensus. And net payroll accounts for $191,302.26, and that's for information. So the next is a summary of building permits, and we don't seem to have quite as many of those in the middle of winter, which is probably quite explanatory. So we have a single-family dwelling with secondary suite and some solar panels, roof gables, structural repairs, and alterations. So the amount for this month is $610,000, with a total to date in 2018 of $15,782,200, slightly higher than last year. Okay, so we need the building permit form be received, please. Motion. Thank you. Councillor King, Councillor Harvey, all in favor. Thank you.
I'm in favor.
And next we have the CAO report.
So I didn't get a chance to run my CAO report off of my computer, so I don't have one, but I do recall one of the most important items that I wanted to speak to today, and that was just to wish Mike Thomas the best in his retirement. Mike was a 38-year employee of the town of Osoyoos as a worker and the foreman in our operations department, and Mike knew every pipe in the ground for our organization, and his retirement is leaving a big hole, some big shoes to fill, but we wish him the best. He has very much to be proud of relative to the work that he has done for the town over the 38 years that he was working for us. Replacing Mike is Jared Bronstein. Jared comes to us with a wide amount of experience in private sector, municipal type of operations, also with the District of Clearwater and the town, City of St. Albert, and I think it's the City of Chilliwack. So we welcome him to our organization and to our community, and we wish Mike the best in his retirement.
Good, thank you. And I'd just like to say that the last time I saw the Public Works crew outside at the end of this road dealing with something, a water issue, and Mike was using a shovel as well as the rest of them, and I thought, good for him after 38 years. So could we please have a motion to accept the CAO report? Thank you. Councillor Harvey, Councillor King, all in favor? Thank you.
I'm in favor.
And now we'll go on to councillor reports, and Councillor Rhodes, you're first.
Thank you, Madam Court. Not too much to report. I'd like to maybe go back to our building report and just mention that the increase from 2017 to 2018 was about $1.5 million, and those are not exact amounts, but it's approximate. And building reports are not the only barometer of economic viability in communities, but it certainly is a very, very important one. And I think it's good to mention that we did have a real solid increase from one year to the next, and all the indicators are that that'll continue to improve through 2019 as well. And along with those numbers comes a lot of hard work by staff members, and I'd like to, because this is a summary of this past year, just congratulate them and recognize how much hard work goes into compiling these figures every year. In addition to that, I'd like to welcome Jared. I don't think he's in the room there right now, but certainly I hope he hears our words at some point. His job will come with a lot of challenges. Certainly sounds like he's more than qualified to meet all of those challenges as well. And just finally, every one of you looks really good on Granicus, so I'd like to pass that on.
Thank you very much, Councillor Rhodes. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know it seems a little late, but hopefully everybody had a great Christmas and a happy New Year, and just look forward to working with everybody in the town to make this a great place to work, live, and play.
Thank you. Councillor Harvey.
Yeah, I have nothing really to report. I would say it was really nice to see Director Davis back in the saddle today and back in the office full-time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, Councillor Bennett is away at the moment. He'll be back next week. So that leaves my report, and I'm going to take a page out of Councillor Rhodes' book, and I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant. And as in the last year, we have had some students from the Osoyoos Secondary School come down and talk to us about single-use plastics and straws and cigarette butts and so on, and it's really been sort of on everybody's mind about how we can be better at recycling. And there's recycle, reuse, reduce, and there's a fourth one, re-gift. And I thought that was a dandy way to do things, regift as well. Why not? There's nothing wrong with that. So, speaking on this issue of recycling and cutting down and so on, I watched the CBC production of Marketplace the other day, and I was quite interested to see that that grocery stores, and it's by not being critical of them, but it's absolutely every store, I would think, have a great deal of single-use plastics and packaging and so on involved. And what happened was that the several people who had been shopping in the store came outside, were stopped by some people on the street, the people from Marketplace, and they said, "Can we look through your particular shopping bag that you have here, and can we look at how many of the things that you have might have been reduced by just thinking about what you were buying?" So some of the examples were, when you buy bananas from the store, there is no need to put them in a plastic bag because you don't need to protect them. They're being, you don't eat them, you peel the peel off to begin with. There are, and so a couple of things that I have done every time I go into a store now, I think about this. Two of the main things, I do take my own recyclable bags to the store now. I've done that for many years. But one of the things I always do, and it was pointed out at Marketplace, is I always buy eggs in cardboard versus styrofoam. Cardboard is much easier to recycle than styrofoam is. So that's the one thing. I also buy coffee, and I have a little machine that does single pods. I only buy the pods that have the mesh on the bottom because they are recyclable. You can put them in the garbage. They do not have plastic on them. So, I'm starting to think about ways that I can cut down on the use of plastics and packaging, and I certainly hope that other people in town will also consider doing that. Even one small thing of change gets you thinking the right way. And I certainly appreciate the fact that that the high school students came down and kind of got us thinking about it. Friends of mine are down in Cabo right now, and they said they cannot find a plastic straw anywhere. So many places have decided to look at that, and I know there are some places in town that have cut down on that as well. So I'm just hoping that people this year will think about ways that they can cut down, recycle, reduce, reuse, and regift. Thank you. So, there's nothing else, we will entertain a motion to adjourn. Councillor Harvey, Councillor King, all in favor. Thank you.